guys, it's Misty here. Welcome to my year 2 keto weigh-in and update video. So if you missed it yesterday, I posted a little montage video of all the updates I had done, and I appreciate your feedback on that. I had hoped to make it a little more grander, like I had bigger ideas, but not, I wasn't able to follow through and execute that. So it is what it is, but I really am proud of the changes that have happened to me. I know I'm only down 51 pounds according to that last weigh-in, but I am completely off insulin. And I think that's the biggest victory that needs to be celebrated. So for those of you who are new, I started keto on March 6, 2017 at 425 pounds, and I'm weighing in today at
371.8 pounds.
371 pounds. So close. I wanted to be 369 by this weigh-in, and then I didn't make it, but that's okay, because again, I've been off of insulin now for a couple, since November, and there have been a couple of times when I've strayed from plan and I've had to take a shot, but I haven't had to consistently take a shot since October, November. It's been unreal. And then if you haven't been watching, I did a fat fast. I don't know why I thought I could do 31 days of that. I don't know why I always put this time limit on myself. That's the real question. But I did a fat fast, the first, the second, and part of the third. The problem with the fat fast is I was doing anywhere between 95 to 100% fat for my day. I don't have gallbladder. Whatever I was digesting was just going straight out. So that was a little irritating. And by Saturday, I felt physically hungry, lightheaded and hungry, and knew that it was time to eat. So if nothing else in this past year, I've learned to listen to my body and how to distinguish emotional hunger or emotional cravings from physical hunger and then physical cravings, which I don't have physical cravings anymore. Once you've been on keto for a while, you don't really have physical cravings. So yay for that. Now I'm filming on my phone. I'm filming in a new backdrop. I apologize if it's a little dark, but my office is a hot mess and I don't know where to look. So I'm gonna look straight ahead. I apologize if that means I'm not looking at the camera, but this is the best I can do right now, okay? I don't even have my glasses on. I hope this is in focus. So yeah, 371, which is a really good number. But anyway, back to the fat fast. My number one goal with that fat fast was to get my blood sugar numbers back down, because I'd been consistently in the 160s, 170s. My last A1C was 7.8, so I was up 9/10 of a point from June. I think it was 6.9 in June. So it was 7 in December. So I go see my endocrinologist on April 10th, and I'm really, 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 really hoping that I will be back under that 7 mark, and he will agree with me that I'm okay to continue being off insulin. So the fat fast to me did its job, because within a day, my blood sugars were down in the very low 100s, and I've seen some 90s. So if nothing else, it did a good job of getting my blood sugars back down where I needed them to be, so I could successfully restart what I was doing or continue what I was doing with lower numbers. So I think that's how I'm gonna continue using fast in the future. Now, I've mentioned in a couple of videos, and I'll mention again here, intermittent fasting does nothing for me. I can't regular fast because, unfortunately, those two things cause my blood sugars to rise. I don't know why. Several other people have mentioned they have the same issues, but not eating or not having some kind of caloric intake, whether it be bulletproof coffee or something like that, my blood sugar will rise. Now, I don't know if that will change once I am fat adapted. Even when I I felt I was fat adapted back like at the 4-month mark when I started this. I still had issues with my blood sugar rising when I was fasting or intermittent fasting. So I eat to hunger. That's what I do. I don't set a, prescribed time. I don't eat 3 meals a day for the most part, unless I'm physically hungry. Yesterday I had a bulletproof coffee for breakfast around 9:30. And then at 1:30 I had eggs, and then last night we had ribeye and asparagus. So that was basically 3 meals a day, because my bulletproof coffee I consider a meal replacement because it's like 500 calories. So, but again, there's no right way to do keto. And I know there are keto police out there who will be like, but every single person on the planet is different. We metabolize differently. We have a different physiological makeup. And at the end of the day, you're only going to learn what works for your body through trial and error. I tried a fat fast. I realized that the error of my ways is I don't have a damn gallbladder to do the fat. And I know several of you mentioned different enzymes and stuff that I could look into. The issue is with the myasthenia. I have a 4-page document of just prescription drugs that I can't take. 4 pages. So I know the supplements are going to be even worse than that. Like, I can't take anything with magnesium. So like no milk and magnesia. I can't even supplement with magnesium. So at the end of the day, I don't know that it's worth it to me, because I can just either suffer through and know that if I'm going to do a fat fast, I'm going to be home those couple of days. Or I can choose to do just a higher fat ratio and more solid fats like fat bombs, cream cheese, those kinds of things, and take those couple of days that way. My sincere hope is that it's not an issue going forward, because Rob and I were talking about this yesterday, and I talked about it with my therapist, that I really would like to see myself go an entire year without going off plan. And I said something in a video a couple of months ago, one of you pointed out, and I had mentioned, I said, I took the opportunity to not derail my progress. And I haven't been doing that. I suffer from, I have clinical depression. I was diagnosed a few years ago, and I mentioned maybe in my last update video that I have been having a rough go of things. I feel like things are starting to, I'm starting to feel a bit better now. I don't feel nearly as suffocated as I did before. I don't know. If you've never had depression, it's hard to describe what depression feels like, but I felt like I was suffocating. Nothing I could do could help bring me air, bring light back into me. And so that has finally turned around. I don't know if it's because we've had some really pretty days. I don't know what clicked, but something clicked. And I'm starting to feel much better. And I know some of that has to do with the fact that I've got my blood sugars down. So we can attribute some of that to that. So some of my non-scale victories are, I can wear my wedding rings even though I don't have them on today. I forgot to put them on after I grabbed a shower. I'm down at least 3 sizes in clothes, at least 3 sizes in clothes. I haven't dealt with any edema or swelling in a good 8 months, 7 months. Like, it's been a really long time since I've dealt with any swelling in my legs or in my feet. This summer will be the true test of that, because it's always in the summer when I go like this. My belly doesn't touch the steering wheel anymore in the car. That was something I noticed, and I'm like, why do I have so much room? Why do I have so much room? And I was even able to scoot the seat up and not have my belly touch. Again, no more insulin. When I started this, I was a type 2 diabetic who was controlling her blood sugars with insulin. I was taking 180 units of insulin in, Novolin in, every single night. And When I very first started keto, it took 9 days to get my blood sugar under control, but that meant under control with 180 units of insulin every night. Now I'm under control with 0 insulin at all. I'm still on my medication for my myasthenia, so I take mycophenolate, which is immune suppression drug, and I take mestatin. I take folic acid because I don't absorb anything because the mestatin causes the same effects as a fat fast. I take lisinopril. I've wanted to be off of lisinopril, but both my endocrinologist and my regular doctor said that basically the Center for Disease Controls, or whoever is over doctors or whatever, or pharmaceuticals, I don't know, basically insists that if you are type 2 diabetic, then you are on lisinopril. So I'm not on lisinopril for blood pressure. My blood pressure is perfect. My cholesterol is perfect. I'm on lisinopril for kidney health. So while I would rather be off of it, sorry guys, I lost my train of thought because there was a Jehovah's Witness at the door. Okay, so I was talking about non-scale victories. And so anyway, I'm still, oh, and I'm also on Lyrica for nerve pain. So I'm still on a lot of medication, but I am slowly eliminating medication. So I have a feeling that I will be on some sort of immune suppression therapy probably for the rest of my life, since myasthenia gravis is a autoimmune disease. So while my goal has always been to be completely off all medication, I understand that there's going to be some medication that I have to take to function, and I'm okay with that. So another thing that you guys may not know if you're new here is that I didn't decide to lose weight because I was fat. Hear me out. So I have been fat my whole entire life. I think I graduated high school over 300 pounds. And I never have had an issue with me. I've never had an issue with my body. I've never had an issue where I thought that I was less than or that I would have a better life if I lost weight. I've always been very confident. I mean, I wore bikinis at 425 pounds. I've always been very confident in who I am and in my body. And I have never, ever in my life felt ashamed of who I am. And I know that that's not every woman's journey. I get that, I do. But my biggest concern with doing these videos is for people to think that I am losing weight because I feel that I'm less than as a fat person than I will be when I am down. That's just not the case. I started this weight loss journey last March. After my therapist and I had talked about it, and after my doctor and I had talked about it, because we had no idea what the weakness was about. No idea. We were in the research phase. I was undergoing testing and going to doctors and just trying to figure out why I was so weak. And I knew, Rob and I knew, my doctor and I knew, my therapist and I knew that I had to try to get some weight off to help alleviate whatever was going on. So a byproduct of that has been the weight loss and the ability to get off insulin and those kinds of things. So it's not that, I mean, my therapist and I talked about this yesterday during therapy. He's like, you're relatively healthy. He said, ha. I mean, I don't have all of the, morbidities? What is it called when they say all these health things are related to a person being fat? I don't have high blood pressure. My heart, I have zero blockage. I don't have cholesterol issues. The only thing I have that can be contributed to being obese or being fat is type 2 diabetes. And honestly, that was going to happen whether I wanted it to or not. I am Native American and almost all of my family has type 2 diabetes. That was just a matter of time. So I am glad that I'm going to be able to put my diabetes into remission, and I do hope that I get to a point where I can maybe add back fruit or something back into my, my way of eating, just to have, because I enjoy them. But that's another thing my therapist and I talked about yesterday, is I have to get away from food as my drug of choice. Now, he is thrilled, and he has said this several times, that I have chosen food rather than drugs or alcohol. And I get that, I do, but I don't want to rely on food as my comfort. I know people will disagree with me, but I don't want to get any pleasure from eating. I don't want to get any pleasure from eating. I don't want to think about sitting on the couch and seeing a commercial and thinking about, like, I saw a Denny's commercial, no, Dairy Queen commercial, and all I could think about was the gravy and some biscuits and how that gravy just feels on your tongue and I was just like, no, stop it. And it's different because I've been an emotional eater or an emotional shopper my entire life. Unfortunately, I had a tumultuous relationship with my mother, which I will talk about in another video. It's just going to take me a lot of courage to make that video. And we lived with my grandmother, who was my biggest champion. I was her favorite, and she would medicate my feelings and my emotions with food. And it was kind of like a double-edged sword with her, because the bigger I got, the more sad she got, but she also was the person that put an extra pork chop on my plate or would give me her leftovers to eat. So it was very much a rough beginning, and I began to turn to food as a comfort. And then I know that my binge eating disorder came from my mother. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, you're gonna blame your mother for everything. I was put on my first diet in the 2nd grade. And I'm talking about diet pills. I can vividly remember being in the babysitter's kitchen, her giving me a pill, and me barely being able to choke. So she would send me to school, and she would put me on a diet, and she would send me to school with like tuna with mustard and raw cauliflower. And that would be my lunch. And I hate tuna. I've always hated tuna. So I wouldn't eat at lunchtime, and then I would get home and I would be starving, and my grandmother, whose food was her love language, she would feed me, and she would feed me a lot. And so it got to be where I was binging, and then, I wouldn't eat at all during the day. We never ate breakfast. I never ate lunch when I was on a diet. And then I would get home and I would just eat. And then I also was using food as a comfort, because like I said, anytime my mom and anytime we had an issue, my grandmother fed me. So it's always been a struggle. And I started to fall back into those habits a few weeks ago, to where I was hiding food from Rob. Like, I would get home, I would eat whatever I'd purchased that I shouldn't have eaten, and then I would hide it. And I had to stop that. And luckily I was conscious enough to stop that. And I told him, I said, I've eaten poorly today. Or I've eaten, I ate out today and I had this, and this, and I shouldn't have. So I'm trying to be cognizant of it, but I know that it's something that's never going to go away. I'm going to be 40 next month. And for 37 years of my life, I've struggled with emotional eating. It's not something you can just turn off. And I know that the more I train my mind and train my body to think of food as fuel rather than a pleasurable experience, I know, if you've ever watched 600 Pound Life, one kind of recurring theme with the people on that show is they find comfort in food. It's their happy place. It's pleasurable, and they love the taste. And it's like, how how do I rewire my brain to get away from that? And I think I was doing kind of, this is my problem. I derail my progress. I do it. I'm the one that does it. So I really, 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 really would like me this to take, from today until March 5th, 2019, and not have a single day off planned. So I'm setting that goal for myself. I hope that I can bring that into fruition. I'm not going to beat myself up about it if I don't, because again, I am not going to shame myself. I'm not going to, I've never felt ashamed. I'm not going to shame myself now. And keto's not a test. Like that's why I don't like to call it cheat days, because it's not a test. Keto is not a diet. This is a way of eating that you have to decide that you're going to do for the rest of your life. And even the thinnest, healthiest people who eat the greenest, at some point in their life or in their journeys, they indulge in a cupcake or a piece of cake or something like that. So I'm not going to beat myself up about it if that happens, but I know that if I want to continue to be a diet-controlled diabetic, that I cannot have those days. So that's kind of my main goal. My other goal is to take measurements. Rob has agreed to help me take some measurements, and then I'm gonna start taking progress pictures. I bought a tankini from Old Navy last April or May. My staff had gotten me an Old Navy card like at Christmas, and I had never used it. And I bought a tankini. I bought the largest size, and it didn't fit when I first got it. Well, by April or May, maybe it was June, it fit. And I was like, whoa. So I'm gonna start taking pictures in that. And yes, I know I'll probably end up on some stupid fat-hating website, but I want you guys to see the changes in my body, because there are a lot of people who watch who are so hung up on that number on the scale and like to think that I've made no progress when that number on the scale hasn't changed. But as I've mentioned, and I will continue to say until I am blue in the face, the number on the scale does not dictate your health. You can be healthy at any size, any weight. Some of us are given a bad luck lot in life, like me, with all these stupid genetic disorders, myasthenia, and the spinal stenosis, and the OPLL, the ossification of posterior longitudinal ligaments, all of these things that are completely out of my control because they are hereditary. If I didn't have those, I would be a relatively healthy fat woman. So, yeah. So, oh my gosh. So that's it, guys. I am really excited about year 2. Once again, my ultimate goal for the rest of 2018 is to get to, almost said 199. Don't I wish? 299. And I am 72 pounds away. So I really think that I can do it. So I had mentioned maybe going back to carnivore. I'd mentioned maybe going back to keto. I do better and I feel better when I don't eat vegetables. It's just how I feel. And I know a lot of people believe Dr. Berg, who the more and more I think about it, I think he may be a quack, but that's just my own opinion, where he says like 8 cups of vegetables a day. Nah, bish. Nah. I'm gonna try it. I would like to have a fat ratio of 80 to 85%. I gotta sit down and figure out what my macros are gonna look like. And my macros may change every week. And there may be a week where I don't track my macros and just see how things go. Again, this is all about experimenting and trying new things and changing things around to see what will work for me and what will work for you. Like a lot of people like to point out, well, so-and-so lost 115 pounds in a year, or 120 pounds, or 88 pounds in a year. Yes, good for them. I couldn't be more ecstatic for them. And I know that if I'd kept pace like in September or November, I could have possibly been smaller by now. But at the same time, I also have to take care of my brain. And if my brain is flipped up, then I have to make sure that I take care of it so I can get myself back on track. And comparison is the thief of joy. I can't compare my journey to anybody else's because it's not my journey. It's not my body. So, there you go. So, I hope that you guys enjoyed the videos. I hope you're enjoying the vlogs. I am going to continue the vlogs. I'm posting them Monday through Friday. And I will try to also do some more Foodie Fridays if I get around to it. That's the thing with me doing like this zero carb thing, is like I'm not cooking anything really cool. Like this weekend I made, Sunday I cooked in bulk for Rob. I made him a pot roast with potatoes. Then I cooked 5 pounds of potatoes in the oven for him. I cooked up a bunch of green beans, and then I made him pesto pork chops, which is a keto recipe. It's basically a tablespoon or 2 of pesto, depending on how many pieces of meat, chicken, or pork that you have. And then a half a cup of heavy cream and some Parmesan cheese. You just reduce it a little bit until it's thick, and voila, it's delicious. It's so good. And it's really good over broccoli. So if you are continuing to eat vegetables, then pour it over broccoli. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really do appreciate you. Thanks to everyone who is new and who has subscribed. It's been really fun getting to know you and seeing your comments. I really do appreciate it. So if you have any questions, let me know. Like I mentioned, I will film a video about my family issues, which I'm really reluctant to do that because I know friends of my mother watch my videos. I know my family may probably watch these videos, and it's rough because I don't know that I would call it hero worship her, but she has a completely different persona with outsiders than she had with my brother and I. And that's, so that's, I don't know. That I already put so much of myself out on the internet. I'm almost tempted to say, no, that's a burden and a cross for me to bear and my brother to bear. So I don't know. I'll consider it. I'll think about it. So we'll see. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate you. I hope you have a fantastic week. And I will see you today in the vlogs or next week for another update. Bye for now.